One of the other signings you've got is TX2.
Yeah, we love him.
That's sort of the opposite of a neck deep story,
Hmm.
where it's somebody that's already got a following and they're well known online that's now moving into it rather than somebody that's completely anonymous.
Right.
Is that something that's a completely different process when you look at someone like that and they've already got a following?
Different and not, I guess the way I'd put it. TX2 is one of the hardest working kids I've ever met. Much maligned. I mean, wherever we TX2 sometimes gets announced, comes with a 10,000 plus commentary, and I think sometimes people forget that TX2 is a real person, and but it's interesting because the process for us doesn't change, right? Like, what's the difference between an artist that can sell 500 tickets wherever they go and we sign them and someone who has, a million followers on TikTok when we get started? Like, there is an existing fan base that wants to hear what they have to say. In the case of TX2, he does have that base and they are listening to him and he is saying some things that are important to him that I think some people might feel are controversial or they don't like that. And I keep that kind of soft. You know, but there is a process to saying, like, for a TX2, or maybe that's a Scene Queen or someone like that, or even like on a Noah Finn's level, right? Who's a UK artist that we work with here. Um, you know, how many of the fans that like these artists for what they're doing in the social connective space are going to fold into loving the music and buying tickets to the show? It's not everybody, right? But it's that same process. Like, how are we helping to pick the songs, put out the music with the artist? Like, I want to do this song. That's great. What's the narrative going to be? Are we going to do a video? What's the social setup going to be? How is that coming out? How do we follow that up? How do we talk about that with yourself or Spotify or, you know, Kerrang or something like this, right? And a lot of the process is the same, but we do want to bring as many of those fans over as possible, while hopefully on the music side making new fans. And it's the same process. Like, will you take this artist on tour? And in some cases, I think for the artists that are more internet friendly than just coming up from the bottom musically, you're going to get some like, I'm not sure, I've seen that person online, I don't know what to say about that. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to twist anybody's arm. This artist will grow. And we've seen plenty of examples of everybody goes, fuck that. And then in about 18 months, when that artist is selling 1,000 tickets a night, they go, I was always a fan. So I've been around long enough to know that today's hater is tomorrow's. Like, absolutely, I'll work on that.
Some of the negativity that he gets in line of the hate, is that just seen as exposure?
That's an interesting question. Anybody who goes online, we're looking for exposure, right? Do I think that Evan believes in what he has to say and has a philosophical mission? Yes. Do I think he's dedicated to it? Yes. Do I think a lot of people want to set that on fire? They do, but it takes a strong person to say, this is what I am.
How does he cope with it?
It's a great question, and it's one that I think Evan, who is TX2, should answer on his own. I think we've had some conversations. I don't think it's easy. I think Evan's been through a lot in his life. I mean, to be an artist like Evan and to have that strength, he's gone through a lot of hard stuff. And I think that the kid, and we got to see him on Ice Nine Kills, and then we saw his headline tour. I mean, the headline show in LA was tears in a way. It's like there wasn't a kid who didn't line up after the show to have him sign something. And I think, some of that metaphor of like that kid that no one ever liked in high school, that people just passed by and didn't know who they were, like, that was Evan. And Evan is out there making this music for that person. And they're showing up being like, you speak for me when no one else will, right? That's not going to make everybody happy. And I want to work with people who believe in themselves like this. I want to be around people who, I'm not, not everybody has to buy into Evan's message, but there are people who do. And there are people who feel like, without Evan, I'd have no compass, right? And that's always been the importance of this community in general. But I think that for Evan sticking to his guns, so to speak, is helping him to grow, because he's not wishy-washy about it. He is TX2. And anybody can go online and see what that Rancor looks like. And, Evan puts up with a lot, but he keeps at it and he's working hard at it and he's got a vision for it. And I think that it's commendable.
Does it change the way he has to tour? Because if he can't sell 1,000, I don't know what he sells, but if he can't sell 1,000 tickets, but the kids that are turning up to see him are fanatical, then is that sort of difference when you've got a band that they can sell 500 tickets, but the fans are just like, so general?
Well, I think if you're selling 500 tickets and out there doing the work and, there are no generals at that level, right? Like, I think if you're selling out the underworld here in London, there's not that kid who's there, they're in it because 'cause I've been in the underworld, and you have to go through a physical fucking effort to be in that room and not sweat to death and die. Um, do I think there's a difference? I think I would suggest to the artist that we headline as much as possible because we wanna give those kids their show, right? And we wanna go find like-minded artists and go build your community around it. Do we still need to go out and support? Yeah, we do. Do we need to find that support? Yes. I mean, everybody's at that same story level. I think the difference for a TX2 is he has people that are obsessive, and he just did a headline in the US, and he had a lot of people out, and I think that rinse and repeat that process will create this huge community that goes, it's us against the world in a way, right? So I think in a strategic sense, focusing on that idea is more important. Obviously, it has to be tempered. It's not my decision, it's my suggestion. And then I think the way we work with artists at Hopeless is that what would you like to do? Here's what we suggest. Here's what our history says, but they're your fans. You stand on stage. I want to side with you. I just want to talk it through. Right. So for that process with TX2, it's still early in the game, right? And it's a lot about the music and the social approach. But on the touring side, it's where can we support? And if we can't, I don't think there's a downside to headlining, but again, we have to have those conversations. He does have a fan that absolutely obsessively loves him, and it is very nice to see, you know?